Personal story segment tonight, new book called Players First, Coaching from the Inside Out, be released tomorrow. Its author, 55-year-old John Calipari, coached the University of Kentucky to the basketball finals this year and has 5 Final Four appearances on his resume. The coach joins us now. So what I'm interested here is in the culture. You get a lot of players from poor backgrounds, African-American players. Over the last 20 years, generally speaking, how have they changed?
The kids, not as much as you think. The clutter, all the stuff around them, it's just gotten huge and bigger and louder, and from the internet to the social media to the NBA, where they're ranked, where they'll be drafted, that is the things that we need to deal with.
All right, now you had a young team, a lot of freshmen on your team, but you'll lose some of them. They'll go to the NBA. So it makes it very hard for a coach that used to, have these guys for 4 years, and now they're in and they're out. That's the money, right?
A lot of it is, but they have a genius now. Just like Jordan had a genius golfing and left Texas after a year, or Tiger or Bill Gates, they have a genius. What I would hope they'd stay with me longer. But an Anthony Davis, a John Wall, a Derrick Rose, you got to let them chase.
But you
genius.
You could make them better. But if they're looking at $20 million and hanging with you for a year, know, I mean, you're a good guy, Coach, but hey. Now, the culture has coarsened. You teach at a public school, University of Kentucky, but it's coarsened. I mean, I don't know whether you listen to this rap stuff and the hip-hop stuff. Has that changed their attitude? I mean, how do you impose discipline on kids who are pretty much going to do what they want to do?
Well, they trust. You got to have trust first that, that they look at me and say, he's about me. That's what this book is about. They know that I'm about them, and the decisions I make are in their interest, not my own, which is why I have a lot of kids leaving. I'm not influencing them to stay. I'll tell them I want to keep coaching you, but I'm not going to hold you back. That's a big part of this. Do they trust you enough? Do they look at you and say, he's going to do right by me? If I tell a kid to stay, the people around them are going to say, he's just trying to win more games. Right. I've got to let them make their decisions.
But do they act differently toward you? I mean, do they use 4-letter words toward you? None of that. So you impose strict discipline on them?
Oh, yes, yeah. But here's what I would tell you. These kids come from good homes. People will say, well, he doesn't have a father. Some of the best kids I coached were raised by a grandmother who was so firm that they understood.
So you evaluate their character before you give them the scholarships?
If I walk in a home and a young man disrespects his mother or grandmother in front of me, I'm out. Because if that's the case, he respects no one. He's not going to respect me.
Okay. How do you keep them away from temptation with the hustlers everywhere? So they go out with a girl, and the girl is going to say, hey, you raped me. There's drugs everywhere. They're giving the kids the drugs for free, all right? How do you keep them away from that?
One of the things I tell them, come to Kentucky, as you know, if you want to smoke, drink, chase, do all that stuff, they'll do a 30-30 on you. They'll be on the ticker. You'll be on every news show. You can't do that here. You're coming here to be developed as a person and as a player.
How many buy into that? Because temptation is strong.
We'll deal with issues as they come up, but they all look at the results. You and I know it's one thing to walk in and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's another thing to say, here's what we've done. Here's how they've been developed. We've had 17 players drafted, but we've had 10 players get their college degrees. Our APR is as high as anybody in the country, 4 years of a 3.0. They understand they're there to be educated. People say, well, they don't want to go to school. That's a bunch of crap. They do want to go to school, but their genius is basketball.
Now, do you have guys on them all the time? I mean, curfews, coaches watching them, drug testing? Do you drug test?
Yes, we do all that. We have housing with no women that can go in there, 30 beds, and people get honest about it. Why would you separate them from the college? Because of what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, they have to be.
Right.
We also, I'm embarrassed to say, take NBA security with us on the road. You would say, what? Well, where do you get to these guys? You're not getting to them on my campus. You're getting to them when we go on the road.
Right.
We bring NBA security with us to protect them. But at the end of the day, how they were raised, what we looked at when we recruited them, how we're now, the standards that's being set. Because they're going to be in situations where you're offered this, that, and the other. Do you take it? or do you protect yourself
right
to protect your brand? We used to call it our name.
Now it's your brand.
Our word, now it's your brand.
That's effective. All right, the book is Players First. John Calipari, thanks for coming in, Coach.
Thank
nice
you.
to see you.
Thanks.
We come right back to most